to get FIA homologation, which is why we've seen the likes of Max Verstappen in the KZ category when he was racing there in 2013 to actually compete here. So quite a few names, as I mentioned, in when we got the live stream underway at around 10 o'clock this morning, local time, as the field is now slowing to a crawl. They're coming through into turn 11. So, round the final corner they come. To your left, it's Henkel Mortens. To your right, it's Deru. And we're set to get underway in the DD2 and DD2 Masters category. Red lights are out, and we are away in the DD2 and DD2 Masters category. And already there's some bumping and barging at the front of the field as someone's made some really good movements up the order. Well, Derui looks like it was, as we've got someone very slow and actually near enough parking it. Just coming out of turn number 4. Yellow flags are being waved in the approach. So the pack now moves and Constantine is through. And that's the 414. That's Vililainen, who started way up the order in 3rd position. That's a disaster for the Finn. And we haven't even done 30 seconds of this race. And already one of our top protagonists in qualifying is now, unfortunately, having to watch by the sidelines as leaders now coming through. And it looks like Henkel Mortens is starting to pull a gap already. And we haven't completed one lap yet. So Deru now comes into 2nd position. Tujinski and Fleischmann, the Germanic duo, now up into 3rd and 4th positions. Matthias Lund now in 5th. Andersson, Moransky, Machacek, Scholl, Puellings and Van der Kaj now round out the top 11, as it looks like there's some movement going up, and looks like Fleischmann has just got past Tujinski into turn 6. And that is for position. That's for 3rd on the road. And could Tujinski lose out another place? Looks like, and there's been more contact. And I think that might be Matthias Lund that's just had to try and get the car going again. So Martin Henkel Mortens continues to lead. So Fleischmann now up into, and it's Andersson, Tujinski, as I think as a result of that contact. So Matthias Lund now down in 14th as a result of that contretemps. Heading out of turn number 8, one of 2 hairpins here at the Genk facility. So Henkel Mortens is trying to get away from the opposition and is comfortably doing so. Last time around did a 55.467. Deru still in 2nd position. Then it's Fleischmann, Andersson, Tujinski, Moransky, Machacek, Puellings, Scholl and Pullinger rounding out the top 10. So that's a real shame for Vililainen, who started 3rd on the grid and didn't even make it to the end of lap number 1. However, the top 3 are starting to break away. So that's Henkel Mortens from Deru and Fleischmann from Germany rounding out the top 3. A little bit further back, Andersson has got Tujinski for close company. That's for 4th. Then Moransky in 6th ahead of Machacek, Puellings, Pullinger, Van der Kaj now up into 10th place as Scholl drops down 2 places in the order, down into 11th position. So 6.5 minutes plus an additional lap to go in this first heat of the DD2 and DD2 Masters category here at Genk in Belgium. And that's Martin Henkel Mortens just going into turn 1, sweeping in, and then it tightens quite dramatically. Then you've got Deru and Fleischmann, who's now, I think, challenging. Last time around, he was nearly a tenth of a second quicker than Deru in 2nd place. This one's... Just a paddock announcement. Could I have competitor number 260, that's 260, Tom Darcy, to go to the steward's office. That's Senior Max number 260, Tom Darcy, from Senior Max to go to the steward's office, please. And meanwhile, back in the action here in the DD2 and DD2 Masters category, 5.5 minutes plus an additional lap to go in this first heat of the 2018 racing season. Now the gap is closing between not just Fleischmann and Deroux for second and third for third and second, but Henkel Mortens is having his lead chomped away a little bit here. So Moransky now down in 8th position. Andersson also down the order. Van der Kaj now back up into 9th position, having started 12th originally when we went green nearly, well, just over 5 minutes ago. And it looks like Deroux and Fleischmann are definitely closing that gap. In the last couple of laps I have seen, and I'm wondering, are they going to try and catch up with Henkel Mortens and go for each other? Let's put it that way, in terms of how they're going to plan their races out, because already the driver will have a strategy in their head about how they're going to attack this race. Now, Fleischmann started in 6th, now currently running in 3rd. Deroux is now still in the same position as the number 435 was a little bit earlier on when we went green. Moransky has now dropped past, dropped behind Matthias Lund, who was in the wars a little bit earlier on, as he had contact a little bit earlier through turn number 8. So it seems to be in the latter part of the top 10 that the movements are quite eclectic, let's say, in the terms of the fact that they're happening a bit more often. Leaders now going through into the ever-tightening turn number 1 here at Genk. Now you go into turn 2. Now it's the double right-hander at 3. Now into 4, where they're actually carrying some great speed and momentum. Then it's hard on the anchors into turn number 5. Down the back straight. And the gap is closing between Henkel Mortens and Deroux. And it looks like Fleischmann is going with second, is now following very, very closely. And thinks, you know what, I've got a chance at a victory. Well, with 3 minutes plus an additional lap to go, there is still time for that to happen for the German. So incredible close racing, and it's been very controlled by the top 3 at the front. I think Henkel Mortens was just trying to stretch out that initial gap, and then thought, you know what, I am going to have to start going defensive, aren't I? Well, he is going to have to do now, because we're now into the business end of this 10-minute plus an additional lap race. And Henkel Mortens was closed down again by around another 1/10 of a second. So Henkel Mortens, Deroux and Fleischmann are your top 3 now, going down the back straight. Tuzinski looks to be a bit lonely in 4th position. A little bit further behind, it's Machacek, Bwellings and Pullinger, who are battling over their respective positions, which is 5th to 7th. And it looks like there's a move up the inside. Looks like it was Pullinger's on Bwellings for position. I'll just keep an eye out and just confirm that in a moment. So it's actually Bwellings ahead of Pullinger as the top 3. It's difficult to call who's going to win this one, as there's another move up the inside of turn number 1. So I'm wondering if Pullinger's lost out another place. I'm not sure yet, but the top 3 now coming into turn number 6, just over 75 seconds, plus an additional lap, and with the pace they're doing, I think when they cross the start-finish line, they're now coming through into turn number 8. It's still Henkel Mortens leading. Deroux in 2nd place, with Fleischmann still waiting in the wings. They now come through in towards turn 11. And this is going to be too close to call. It's now less than a minute to go on the clock. Leaders now pretty much, there's a couple of car lengths between between each kart, and the gap between the three of them is just over 4 tenths. So I would think we're going to have this and an additional lap to go. So it's still Martin Henkel-Mortens leading the way from Zenderu, with Max Fleischmann from Germany right on the back bumper of the 435 as he hustles it going through turn number 7. He's pressurizing the 435. So time is going to elapse probably by the time we get on the approach into turn number 11. They go through turn number 9, now through into 10. So as they hit turn number 11, so it's this plus an additional lap to go. And here we go. Fleischmann is going for it. He tries to think up the inside going into turn 1. But Daru blocks the door quite sternly there as Fleischmann goes up the inside into turn number 2. Waited, bided his time, and struck when it mattered most. That's a great move from Max Fleischmann with 2 laps remaining in this opening DD2 and DD2 Masters race here, as Matthias Lund now gets past Andersson for 9th place. But it looks like that battle between Daru and Fleischmann has allowed Henkel-Mortens to start pulling away. So here we go. Checkered flag is being prepared, and it waves for Martin Henkel-Mortens, and it was on the line. Max Fleischmann pips Zenderu by just literally 52 hundredths of a second at the flag. I knew it might be a drag race between 2nd and 3rd. Then it was Denis Tuzinski from Germany that rounded out the top 4. You then also had Daniel Machacek, who started 8th, finished in 5th. Also, Barry Pullinger made his way up into 6th position, having started 13th. So, great job by the Briton. Gilles Buelling from Belgium rounds out the top 7, with William van der Kudge rounding out the top 8. Matthias Lund, Johan Andersson, Slavomir Moransky, Marcel Steinert, and Patrick Weinstock round out the top 13. Jana Stier, who's in this category as well, she finished in 15th position, with the biggest casualty as our 3rd place starter, Ville Villelainen. Hopefully we'll see that flying fin back in action, as we will have another heat a little bit later on. But I think we're going to have Oliver very shortly in the interview